Thanks for tuning in to the Matt and Seth Show, hosted by Seth Fisher, editor of mgoldblog.com, and Matt Demorest, Realtor and Lender. Presented by Realtor and Lender.com. Buy, sell, mortgage. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and go blue.
I can hear it now. Band takes the field, and out of that eastern tunnel pour 215 well-drilled, well-disciplined Michigan bandsmen. They pour over the eastern sideline, they pour in the big block in, and they play the greatest college fight song ever written.
Seth, how's it going, man?
Well, I lost a tooth.
Wow. Did the tooth fairy come?
No, they didn't even let me keep it. Isn't that weird? They didn't even let me keep my kid lost his one of his front teeth too, and so he's got a big gap right now, and so do I. And he got $5 from the tooth fairy and a nice little note and some Pokemon cards, and I didn't get anything. I looked under my pillow, I didn't get anything because they didn't let me keep the tooth. But
you got your hillbilly Halloween costume halfway there. I like it.
Yeah.
Get a new one?
Put on. Oh, I'll get a new one. I got to heal up first, but I just want it to be known to all the hockey fans who are listening. Boarding was not called; it was real bad skating. So
nice. Well, missing a chiclet. We got the first time playing Illinois ranked in many moons. Like I think it was early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been a while since we played Illinois. Both teams.
They ranked in the early 2000s. There was that '99 game when
it was '99. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was at that game. Yeah, that was when Tom Brady almost let us back, and then we had to let them score so we could actually have a chance of winning. It was a weird game.
Yeah, man. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we talked. Coming off Washington wasn't all that fun. But tell us about your trip, man. Tell us about the experience there.
Oh, Washington's great, man. Their signs are all lies, so don't listen to any sign in Seattle. For some reason, they're all trying to direct you to these bridges that look like they're about to fall down. But the food's amazing. There's also I was with my cousin who lived in Ballard for years, so we were kind of doing part Washington, part his stuff, right? And he's a big Seahawks fan, so we went to the Seahawks game. That was a lot of fun, even though they weren't very good. They lost that game, but it was close at the end because they got a fumble return for 99 yards. But other than that, they really didn't have any offense whatsoever. So, yeah, man, I love Seattle. This is my second time being there. I've seen all the sights now. The one thing I got to do is get east and kind of see the mountains because I've been up to Mount Baker before, but haven't gotten to do some of the nature trails, and those look really nice. The stadium is gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, the fields, the turf sucks, but the field is really nice. We were counting. We ran into 26 people who recognized me and only 4 Jerko Washington fans. So very nice fan base. They're a little bit on the Penn State. Not a little bit. They are completely on the Penn State side on the no ball versus blame the refs for everything scale. They are over next to Penn State on the blame refs. I mean, Ohio State's the worst at every one of these measurements. If we want to go with fan bases, they are the absolute worst thing I've ever met in any category whatsoever.
Very true, and we've been there together.
Yeah. But, I mean, Washington fans were extremely on the nice scale, up with Notre Dame on, some of the nicest fans, except for a few people. There was one guy actually yelling racist stuff at the players, and apparently one of Michigan's coaches yelled stuff back at him, which, if I could repeat some of the things that kid was saying, you'd understand why he got a reaction he did. Anyway.
Wow.
Talking about
I just got back from a trip.
On the field.
Yeah, I just got back from a trip, man. I took the Cooper and Colby are no longer 11 and 9 like the old podcast ad said. They're 16 and 14. We took the trip down to Dallas to watch the Lions just eviscerate the Cowboys. But obviously terrible news this weekend with Hutch. That was kind of put a damper on the second half. But great trip. We were trying to decide, Seth, where to go this year, and Seattle is the one place we haven't been outside of Columbus, the other. And I want them to be fully grown adults who also have control of what they say back to people before we go to Columbus, And so it's going to be a few moons before we make it over to catch a game at Ohio State. But really cool experience, and lots of Michigan fans. Ran into several J.J. McCarthy Michigan jerseys in the stands. It was a great time. So we both had some good football experiences, but I've missed Michigan football. Saturdays in the fall are not the same without a game. So today, while you're pulling up the video, we want to jump into some of the stuff that Wink is perplexing us with. And while you're doing that, realtorandlender.com, buy, sell, mortgage, help you with all parts of the process or just one part of the process, whatever it is. That's how you find me. So tell me some of the stuff that confused you in Washington, besides the fact that it just looked like we were playing on ice with all the slips and falls, which certainly.
Yeah, and that was certainly a big part of the terrible coverage day. But so was this. This is I saw a whole bunch of examples of Wink doing this. If you watch, we're watching this safety up here. Okay, so now you know the rule. You want to have a player over every player, right? There has to be someone lined up because otherwise they're just going to run straight down the field and get a quick seam. So this is just any sound defense is always going to have somebody lined up over every single player. And what the spread offense does, the concept of the spread offense, other than it's basically two concepts together. One is get more defenders away from the box so that, like, if this guy's lined up over here, someone has to be lined up on the hash with him. And that means this guy is really not going to be an effective blitzer, right? You can't really have him attacking the run as well as be out here. That's the first thing the spread does. The other thing it does is it makes it very easy to count numbers, right? How many guys are on this side? 1, 2. How many guys are on this side? More than 2, right? You can count how many guys are on any given side unless the defense goes completely exact, and then you can just choose the side that you want to attack. Spread offense, everyone runs the spread form one version or another, or one piece of it or another. Everyone does the same stuff because the ideas work. So defense has been trying to get this back, right? Defense, especially the old defensive coaches, have always trying to be like, they want this guy here to be a blitzer again, right? And you've seen Wink Martindale really trying to force it this year. There's a lot of nickel blitzes, and it's been driving us nuts because this guy starts blitzing and the ball's away before he gets, halfway there, right?
Right.
He's just so far away. And you can't really have him do any better unless you have a safety roll on top and kind of play cover 1 or move this guy back and play cover 2. Sorry, play cover 0 or play cover 2. You have to move guys around to confuse that if you want to do that. So here's what he was doing against Washington. And you see you have this guy lined up over here, and you also have the safety kind of wandering over here too. It's a little hard to see on this example, but look how there's the middle of the field. He's definitely cheating to this side. Now he's keeping his eye on what's going on over here, but he's also cheating over to this side so he can help out when you already have a guy on here. What that means to the quarterback, because he's counting numbers, spread offense, right? Okay, this guy's over here. He's got inside on him. That means this cornerback is all alone on this guy. Quick, easy read. Everyone knows how to make this one, right? And unless he pulls up right here, this area right here is going to be wide open. Now look, Jair Hill plays it really soft. But he misses the opportunity to throw it on this one. But it's the first time we saw it. It starts getting a lot more obvious. So this is their next 3rd and long, okay? They get this same look, but this time the safety is going to be high. But look, 1, 2. They're lined up on top of each other. So if those guys are both there, he can't blitz. He can't really help inside the box. He can't really help underneath here unless he's getting back there. You see him. Look, we still have a safety on top. We've got a linebacker here where Giles Jackson's going into, and Zeke Berry is 100% focused on this guy right here. That means Jair Hill is completely alone. All the space back here, all the space down here, all of this space is just Jair Hill versus this guy. It's a very easy read, and there's just really no way. Look where he catches the ball.
Very easy first down completion. Yeah.
Yeah, but look where he's catching the ball. He's right on this hash mark, right? He's right on that hash mark on the 25 there, and look where Zeke Berry starts. This should be taken away, right? But Zeke Berry is focused on him. You've got somebody on top of him. You got somebody on there. I don't get. So I thought.
Yeah, why Berry's staying with him there? Yeah. I mean,
right.
If he goes inside, we got him covered by the linebacker. He goes up top. He's going longer. You switch the zone. You got him covered up by the safety. So we're just leaving that entire side open. Is that
right?
Is he doing it on purpose?
Well, here's the thing. You can do this with man coverage, right? This could be man coverage. Right? Then you have him on top. So it could be man 2, right? You have these 2 guys deep, and you have the same thing over here. This guy falls down because they were slipping as well. But that could be just man coverage. But if you play man coverage, you really want to have your cornerback up so he's taking away all the space and just runs with the receiver, and then the receiver has to get loose of him, right? That gives away you're playing man, though, if you come down. So I think that they're trying to disguise some sort of man. They could be disguising some sort of man coverage, and it's not on Barry at all. We see another version of it again here where you have the safety down. They're trying to disguise their coverages, right? But they go into this 3-deep shell. And look, 2 guys on top of here again. Okay? And that actually takes it away, but it also leaves, and we get away with it because there's pressure. So Rodgers has to throw the ball away before he's really ready to make a break. But look at Jair Hill. He's spinning the wrong way. Now, this could just be on Hill. Hill could just be, but he's in no position to help underneath. Okay, this 3-deep shell is just taking away everything inside. Maybe he's going to break into the flat here, but this is a curl flat zone. This is cover 3. But Jair Hill is running inside on cover 3 when he's got help inside. Probably just a screw up on Hill, but it's like you're playing off when you could just play this man up. You could just take him, you can move him down and take that. Now you see on the other side, he's not playing nearly as low, right? Or not nearly as high, so he doesn't have that much space. But it's just kind of weird that we're playing off coverage this much if we're going to be playing off coverage all the time. Now here's another one. They actually end up throwing it in here because it's a weird blitz. So here's this play that we just watched drawn up. They're going to hit this guy right here. And that's because, and it's a hard thing for Michigan to get to because they got Ernest Hausman lined up as a defensive end over here, and they want him to drop back, look this guy up, and cover right there. NFL move. We used to do it with Junior Colson all the time. He's going to spot drop, not really see it, and they're going to get that little space to throw it, and he'll throw it right there. But we look on this backside, and we're doing it again. It's this cover 3 where we're playing really far off. Jair Hill kind of backs all the way out to the 45 here. He's running a dig at the 50. And Zeke Berry is not really dropping into a zone here. So if this is cover 3, you're expecting him to have the curl flat zone. Anything in here is his, and then he comes down and gets here. But he can keep on taking this H up, but he's supposed to switch onto him.
Yeah.
I think I saw them talking to each other ahead of time. So there's this conversation right here. Right, and here he's again. You got that safety lined up on top of him. You can actually see it better over here. All right, so it's the same play. Safety lined up on the hash over here too. I think they're trying to convince them that they're going to blitz from here. I think that's the idea. And then he's going to go into a middle zone and go into cover 3. He's going to be that curl flat zone. But they're turning around and they're not switching, right? They're having them play man if he goes vertical. So it's actually more of a switch route. And they're not doing that on this side. This side there, he's playing his curl flat zone, that's whole cover 3. So it's weird that Jair Hill is the guy that we're picking to do this because Jair Hill is young and kind of screws up. And it's just not what his skill is, right? Now, I'm not saying this is I hate Wink for this. I'm not saying Wink is terrible for this. I'm saying he's kind of using his cornerbacks like they're interchangeable, and it ends up putting Jair Hill in the position of playing off and also having to. It takes a lot of technique, right? It's a lot to ask of that guy, and it's kind of taking him out of his comfort zone, which is playing man. So look, what do they do in the second half? All right, they're going to motion this guy across. They got an empty formation, but we get kind of that same look, right? Doubled up. Everybody's got somebody over him. But the difference is this time, Jair Hill is just down in man, right? Right down near the line of scrimmage. They start running. It's still cover 3. But until they throw the ball, they throw it low, so that's why he stops. But until they throw the ball, he's just going to take him. He's going to carry him all the way. And that's really kind of a better use. Now they're on the boundary now, so they just switch the cornerbacks. And, okay, we have Will Johnson on this other side. And and
if you start at the line of scrimmage, you get the chance to chuck the wide receiver or slow down his route, too. So if you are going to end up in man,
yeah.
I mean, I know you don't want to give it away that's what you're playing, but it seemed like a large percentage of these snaps this game, that was the defense. Is that our base right now, coverage? It looks like that's what we're going to the majority of the time.
our base coverage is cover 3, and then we take it up a notch by having lots of different changes to it. And we get into cover 3 from a lot of different places. So it's not like you can just read it, because it's really hard to find the guy in the hole or the curl flat zone. You might be reading the wrong guy, and then you throw the ball, and all of a sudden somebody's picking it off. So that's the base way the defense plays. They'll run some man. They'll also run lots of quarter, half. They'll run some quarters, especially when they want to have, when they can give up some yardage, or if they're in a 2-minute drill, they run a lot of quarter, half. But they switch it up. It's a complicated defense, and they have those conversations. And you saw over there where Jair Hill and Zeke Berry are talking to each other and deciding, okay, if Hill goes vertical, Barry's going to stay with him instead of trying to execute a switch right there, which you wouldn't cover 3. It's a this is how the defense is supposed to work. It's not like we're switching what we did last year. It's the players that we have are not executing it at the level that they were executing it last year, and they seem to have different skills. And this is something we were talking about all offseason, that Mikey Samerstill was so good at what he did because he knew what the switch was. He knew what conversation to have. He knew what to do and how to get everybody lined up around him. And then he was in the right spot, and everyone was in the right spot. And he knew it so well that they could get everyone aligned, and then he could fake blitz, right? And then actually get them and screw up the read a little bit more. He can always add a little bit. It's just those little marginal things he could add. Zeke Berry is just an athlete, right? Zeke Berry is probably a better athlete than Mikey Samerstill if they just went by testing and size and all the markers that you can get, right? But we're not really using him as an athlete. We're using him like Mikey Samerstill, and I think that's why he's messing up. I think that he's not that guy. I think that guy is a very unique player and a very difficult player to get, and that's why he was so valuable to Washington and why he's playing in the NFL right now. I think Jair Hill is a similar kind of thing. He's a true sophomore. He's the youngest kid in his class. He was born on August 31st, so if he was born a day later, he would have been in the next class. So he's about the same age as half the guys in the class younger than him, physically. And he looks like it. He's physically just not there. He was playing free safety in Kankakee, Illinois. He was not a cornerback in high school. He was not playing for a major program or anything where he got a lot of coaching. So a lot of this is new, and it's a very difficult system he's learning. So he's not going to be, the kind of cornerback that Michigan had last year in Josh Wallace, right? Amir Hall could be that guy because he's played in these kinds of defenses before, but Josh Wallace is a different kind of player. But you can do things with Jair Hill that you couldn't do with Josh Wallace. You can put him all the way down and have him carry somebody and stay with him the whole way and just make it about athleticism. So I think what they're going to do, and like I said, I don't want this to be we hate Wink or Wink sucks.
No, sure.
This is an NFL guy who thinks I have players who run an NFL system. Let's run the system. This is what we are. This is what we do. Let's have them practice the thing that we do and get better at it. And then he has a weird idea. His idea, I think, was to have he wants to be able to nickel blitz, right? He wants to win that back because the spread takes that away from you. And this is part of and that's always been part of the idea of his defense. He likes that nickel blitz. He likes to have that guy coming in and putting a timer because it's very hard to pick that thing up, right? Unless you're looking for it, which a lot of our teams are now because he's doing it so much. But he wants to have that threat in there. He's trying to find ways of making that happen. And in the process, he's not really paying attention to Jair Hill is really not at that level yet. He's 1 or 2 years away from being at that level. So sometimes you just kind of have to suck it up, put him down, show everybody that you're going to be in man and play it. It's ironic that everyone's like, oh, this guy's Don Brown. He needs to be more Don Brown. He needs a little bit more go out and play some football instead of let's try to win with this idea. The idea is good. It makes sense. Get what he's trying to do. It's not working with these specific players the way that he's got them organized. I think if he gets better, I can't promise he's going to, but the route to getting better is take a week. They got this bye week. They can, instead of having to play USC and Texas and Washington every other week, right? Like this early schedule just had a lot of big games where you wanted to have an idea, where you wanted to be like you wanted to win it with coaching, right? Instead of just practicing your base and getting it right, because that's what you have to do in college. Well, you have 2 weeks now to kind of practice, get it right, and get an idea of what your players can and can't do. Try different things and see what breaks them, see what they screw up, and then don't do the things that are getting them to screw up. And I think that we had an opportunity with the bye week now. They're playing another good passer. Unfortunately, we were talking about this today. Luke Altmaier is probably the best Ole Miss transfer quarterback in the Big Ten in Big Ten history.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I mean, the bye week couldn't have come at a better time, like you're talking about, for just getting reps and just hopefully getting back to basics, getting some of the young guys, back into the right position. I mean, we had a murderer's row of a schedule to start the season. Came out of it. Wishing we had come out with one loss instead of the two, but Texas is looking really good. So that one doesn't sting as much as it did at the time. The Washington one really feels like one that got away. And do you think you'll see an improvement coming up this week? I mean, how are you feeling about the game against Illinois?
Here's the problem: they can improve a lot and still lose to Illinois.
Yeah.
The situation of the secondary, and some of it might have been the field conditions, right? Because there's a couple plays where the guy just slips and falls. But that was really not the biggest problem. The biggest problem was Zeke Berry could not tackle Giles Jackson in space, and they were getting burned. Jed Fish just had Wink's number. Anytime, Fish was doing some weird stuff too, and we were just not prepared for it. And that's kind of the thing. We were saying, hey, Wink, go back and do base stuff, right? And I want him to do a little bit more. I want him to you can declare that Jair Hill's playing man a few times. Not all the time, but you can do it more and then steal back more of the things he's good at. There's a balance, though. You can't just go and run the same play all the time, and you don't want that from your defensive coordinator. You want him to have ideas. You want him to come up with something that's going to work. But that has to come with time. You get to know your players. You get to know they get to know the defense. You see what you're good at, what you're not good at, and then you stem off of what you do. So I think that hopefully we can get there. Illinois is going to be a tough test because they're another passing team. But if Michigan gets 55% better in coverage, they're still a way worse coverage team than they were last year and still kind of a mid-coverage team. And that's really disappointing because they've got an All-American out there in Will Johnson, and they've got a returning starter in Makari Page, and they've got last year's backup who was fine in Quinton Johnson, who was fine in this game, but they didn't really target him very much. And they got a lot of talent in Zeke Berry and Jair Hill. They got to figure out what the mix is because it's not the same mix as last year.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know if they will or not. It's really disappointing that they didn't already. I can't promise you that they will, but I'm not going to fire Wink in the middle of his first season. He's got a 3-year contract, so this is what it is.
Well, let's switch sides of the ball real quick and then talk about what we think the score is going to be. But, I liked what I saw from Tuttle. I mean, I think obviously the fumble and the interception were big turning points in the game. But, I sort of forgot how good a runner he is, or at least how passable a runner he is. When you look at him, you kind of get thin John Navarre vibes just because he's tall and doesn't look like he's that athletic. But, he was able to scramble out of the pocket. One of the things I liked, Seth, just from an eyeball test, was he moved up into the pocket when he needed to. He backed out of the pocket. He got out of the pocket when it collapsed. Some of the things that I don't think were happening as much with the other two quarterback options, which really extended plays. Particularly, you think about the early touchdown when he extends it, he throws it back to Loveland for the score. How do you think the offense is going to look this week in comparison to any better?
He's not a panacea. He is the quarterback that I think that the offense was designed for.
Yeah.
I think that they were planning on him originally, and then he got hurt, and then we kind of had to figure out what they're going to do, and that's why we went in this whole Orgy Vision side quest without actually installing anything for Orgy somehow. It's when I scouted him as a transfer, I was they were like, who is this guy? What is he compared to? And I'm like, he's John O'Corn, guys. That's the kind of player he is. He's 7th year John O'Corn. He's had some more time to get being under harassment out of his head, whereas John O'Corn was thrust in the middle of the 2017 season, and it's behind in 2016 he was put out there with a bad offensive line, and that was the problem with that team, right? So that's not really any better this year, right? I don't think our offensive line's any better than the 2017 offensive line was. It's the same problem, right tackle can't pass protect, so I don't think that you're going to really have a panacea. Now, some of them, he made a giant mistake on that fumble. He had only 2 guys to read. One of them gets open. He has to make that throw. I don't care which quarterback you are, he had to make that throw. But he hasn't really practiced. He wasn't around for fall practice at all, right? He was not available. He had the surgery. He was not available for months, and he wasn't available until the middle of the week last week when he was finally cleared to play. So he at least got 2 weeks full of practice now, whereas before he had half a week, right, and had not played for a very long time. So it's possible that they threw him in there because they needed to do something at that time, but like maybe they were planning on revamping the offense for him over the bye week, and he wasn't originally going to play that game. They were hoping Orji could make it through. But I mean, that was the option. They pulled it. They pulled the ripcord. But I'm not expecting him to be J.J. McCarthy. I'm not expecting him to be J.J. McCarthy as a freshman. He's going to be what he can be, and they're going to clunk along. And I think we have to understand that we won a national championship last year. We won the Rose Bowl last year. We beat Alabama. We beat Ohio State. We beat Ohio State the year before that. We beat Ohio State the year before that. And we would have beat Ohio State the year before that. So this team has they came to a peak. A lot of people left because business was finished. They are more disappointing on defense than offense to me because I knew the offense was losing so many guys. I was hoping the offensive line would be better, but they got so many injuries. So it is what it is. Let's make it through this season. I'd rather not lose to Illinois. I'd rather not lose to Michigan State. But let's get through this season and then figure out how they're going to get better next year because this is not what it's going to end up. If it looks like this, we're not going to stick with it. Right? If it's we're not going to be Jack Tuttle, the program, for more than this year. That's what we are right now. And Tuttle was the backup last year, and this was on the team. They were showing you what they were going to be last year, and they were saying a lot of people were saying this, not necessarily the media, but they were telling. It wasn't hard to have them tell you that hey, we're going to take a big step back. I think we're seeing worse than we were hoping, but they weren't going to be competitive for a national champion.
Well, one way to get better next year would be
lose 4 games.
Yeah, man, and one way to get better next year quick would be to grab that receiver, grab another Indiana transfer. That
Donovan
would be
McCulley, yeah,
a little McCulley pull.
I know. Every time there's a Donovan McCulley news, I'm like, okay, just tag me. Because everyone's going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Just put it in the news article, right? Donovan McCulley is thinking about going to Michigan at Masapagan.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do it. Perfect.
Put it in the headline, yeah, because everyone's going to tell me about it. We know all about Donovan McCulley, and that'd be nice. I had a secret wish they get Ricky White this year.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And I'm like, that would have been great. That would have been really fun.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But yeah, I think that they're going to hit the portal pretty hard next year, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So this weekend at the Illini, their fans legitimately believe that they are our biggest rival and that we're their biggest rival when it comes to football, which is laughable to me, but it's going to be an interesting game. That stadium does get loud. It's not an easy place to play.
Yeah.
It's been sold out for a few weeks now. Their fans are all lathered up, ready to go. I think this is going to be a classic Michigan-Illinois double or triple overtime situation because it seems like that's what happens. And I'm going to go good guys 47-45. That's I'm going crazy on my score, but what do you think, Seth?
There's no way we score 45 points.
Well, it's 5 overtimes.
Okay. I mean, they went to overtime with Purdue, so yeah, man. This is 24-23, Michigan.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like it.
And then Illinois complains about some dumb call when there were a bunch of calls that went for them that they never noticed. But there will be one call that goes for Michigan, and Illinois is going to complain about it for the next 20 years.
I have a couple cousins, a few uncles that I will never hear the end of it if we win or we lose either way, because there will be a call or there'll be something. So you're right. So before we go, happy 10th birthday to Eva. Gonna show her this. I have. Got her a Lions jersey, an old DeAndre Swift jersey that was on clearance on Amazon. Told her it was a Taylor Swift Lions jersey. So Dad of the Year right here. Got a Taylor Swift Lions jersey. Yeah.
Oh man, that's brilliant.
Yeah, she's like, this is my Taylor Swift Lions jersey. So happy birthday, Eva. Seth, awesome talking to you. Hopefully some positive news to talk about next week. But again, like you said, that Rose Bowl, all I have to do is think about that Rose Bowl and puts a little smile on my face. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, I like the Halloween costume, Hillbilly Seth. We'll see you next week, man.
All right. See you, man.
All right. Go Blue.
Thanks for tuning in to the Matt and Seth Show, hosted by Seth Fisher, editor of mgoldblog.com, and Matt Demorest, Realtor and Lender. Presented by Realtor and Lender.com. Buy, sell, mortgage. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and go blue.